for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gloria Rand, and I'm a speaker, copywriter, and marketing consultant who works with entrepreneurs and small business owners to implement search engine optimization strategies and social media marketing for online visibility, profits, and success. And before launching my business in 2009, I was actually a writer and a producer for the award-winning PBS show Nightly Business Report. But today I enjoy educating professionals about social media marketing and SEO and helping my clients by delivering great copy that makes the biggest impact on their bottom line. So without further ado, get that out of the way, I just want to again welcome you to today's webinar, and let's get started because we have a lot to cover today. All right. Here we go. So essentially what we are going to be going over today is how to get started with Twitter, some best practices, and then how to use Twitter for marketing and public relations and things like that, and then also some time-saving tools. And I also have a special offer for you at the end, so I hope that everyone can stay with us for the entire time. And like I said, we're going to try to get, I do try to get these webinars in and out in an hour because I know we all are very busy people, and so I'm going to try to do that. But I also am going to try to hopefully have some time at the end of the webinar so I can take your questions. So if you do have something as we're going through, if you've got a question, if you can just kind of jot it down or something, and so you'll remember it, or I think you can even type it in the little questions pane here on the GoToWebinar screen, and then at the end of the webinar, I will get to it. So just to kind of give you, I was just realizing wanted to add some information in here. Just thought it might be interesting to have some quick little statistics here about Twitter and really why it is a good platform for you to use for your business. It's got about 100 million global users now. I know that's dwarfed by Facebook's huge numbers, but still, that's a pretty good amount of people on there, and about half of them are logging in every single day. But what's really more significant are these next two stats: is the fact that 53% of people on Twitter recommend companies or their products in their tweets. So you definitely want to be able to get some of those kind of positive recommendations. And, well, of course, I shouldn't say they're not necessarily all positive, but we'll address that later. The other thing is that 67% of people on Twitter follow a brand that they will purchase. In comparison, only 51% on Facebook. So, again, it's some good food for thought and why it's a good idea to take a little bit more closer look at Twitter if you aren't using it already. Okay, oops, there we go. All right, so when you want to get onto Twitter, the first thing you're going to want to do is set up a profile. And part of that is coming up with a username. So typically you're going to want to use, or I would recommend using, is to use your full name. Now, of course, because there are 100 million users out there, and it's very possible that someone with your name has already beat you to the punch by using that as their username. So you can use a little variation, maybe some initials or something, or you might want to consider including your company name with your name, especially if you work for a lot of big organizations. Will tend to do this because they've got a lot of people that are monitoring their Twitter accounts, so they'll do that. Another option is to include your name and industry. And so on this example here, Marketing Jane, and actually I'm doing that myself because I actually started I already have a Twitter username that I use my name for, so it's @GloriaRand, but I decided that I wanted to try to start going after the green products niche, so I created another username, and it's called Green SEO Copy. So since I've already used my name, I wanted to do something different, and this way I'm using the industry. So that's something you can keep in mind trying to come up with a good name. Then the next part of that is to set up, write your biography. You've got a little bio area here where I believe you have 160 characters that you can use to describe yourself. And you want to, of course, use keywords that are related to your business. Certainly if you're using Twitter for personal reasons, you can put whatever kind of personal interest you have. And you can do a little bit of that too, even if you're using Twitter for business, because you might want it, you still want to be able to kind of promote yourself as a person, because this is a social networking site, so it doesn't all have to be business, but you can include, definitely want to include some sort of keyword mentioning the industry that you are a part of. And also you can include a link to your website or your blog in that bio as well. Now, you notice in that last picture that there was that woman had a photograph of her. And it is definitely worth your while to use a photo instead of your company logo. I mean, even if you're using Twitter strictly for business, you still want to have a personal face on that. And as you see here, HubSpot did a little study looking at followers and people who have followers on Twitter. And as you can see, it's overwhelmingly the popularity of having a picture. You're going to get a lot more followers, and you want to be able to try to get as many followers as you can so that you have an opportunity to connect with people on Twitter. So it's definitely, I recommend using, and of course make sure that it's a nice, a professional looking picture. You don't want something just something that your spouse took, your kid took. Make sure that it is a nice decent headshot. The other part of, once you get your bio done and you've got your username picked out, is you can actually customize your profile a little bit. In this new format, you've got a narrow space on the left-hand side, but it is a good way for you to include the, your company's logo. Then you can put right there, or if you're promoting a book. Darlene Jalowski had written this book called Baby Boomer Lifestyle Management. So she's got the book right there, so she can let people know this is, when someone is clicking on a profile, they'll be able to see right away what you're doing for business. So that's a good way that you can customize it. And these are, depending on how much design knowledge you have, it's something you might be able to do yourself. Or you might get even more creative and hire a web designer who I believe probably did this one for Jennifer Lee, Coach Jen Lee. And she, as you can see, she's got a very nice, slick background that obviously a good designer was able to put together for her. So those are options too. If you want to hire someone to do that, you've got a really great pictures or something that you want to promote, that's a good way to do it. Now, once you're ready, you've got it set up, you've got your username, you've got your bio, now you're ready to start tweeting. So what are you going to tweet about, right? Certainly if you have your own blog, this is a perfect way to be able to try to attract new readers to your blog. So you want to include links to your blog posts. If you've got any type of videos that you do, if you do video marketing for your business, you can share your videos. And what's great about Twitter now, and I apologize, I should have shown this, but maybe if we have time, maybe I'll actually go to Twitter Live and be able to find a video on there, because you can actually, it'll open up and you'll be able to see the nice big YouTube video, for instance, will be right there in Twitter, and it's in a nice little box and it shows up great. And photos, of course, if you've got product photos or event photos, anything like that, those are great to share, and you can upload them right from your mobile phone if you want. So those are certainly things that you want to do. You can also send direct messages to people as you get into connecting with different folks. And the way to do that is this D, and you use the D for direct and then @ username. And I think that's how, what was our scandal that we had a few months back with the congressman or whatever, Mr. Weiner, mistaking how to do that. So there's another way to do it. Rather than using that D, you can actually, there's a little icon, and I'll see if I can show that to you later, that you can click on instead. That'll be a little bit more safer. So make sure that you're actually sending a message. A direct message will go directly to another Twitter user. No one else in the Twitter stream will see it, as opposed to just a regular where you're regularly sending messages and you type it into the status box. Now, the way to get it to everyone to see it is to use some phrase or a couple words or something first before you use that person's username. Otherwise, if you just type in at user, the person's name, whatever their username is, and then you start your message, only your followers and that person's followers are going to see it. So if you really do want to be able to, maybe get a certain message out, or maybe you're promoting something and you want everyone in the Twitterverse to be able to see it, start your message with some kind of word or greeting first, and then use that person's username, and that's going to be a lot more effective for you. You'll have a chance to reach everyone there. And of course, you want to be able to, as you're starting to join the conversation with people, that's the whole thing about Twitter is Twitter is essentially like a cocktail party online. So it's a way for you to just strike up conversations with people, and of course, I didn't put this on here anywhere, and I apologize for that, but there is a 140-character limit. So you do need to keep things short and concise as you're typing. But a nice way to be able to, or a very clever way to be able to really capitalize on what you're talking about, is to use these hashtags. And I'm sure if any of you have been on Twitter even for just a little time, you've seen that little pound sign and then some type of word after it. So in this example, I had pulled a screenshot where they were using event profs. So obviously there was some sort of, I think, event profs or event professionals, and they were having a conversation between themselves, and they were using this hashtag as a way to be able to, crystallize that conversation. Everybody, all those people who are involved in that, who are event professionals, can search with that hashtag and be able to find all the conversations about that. So you can create whatever kind of hashtag you want. As you look, you'll see that there are some common ones that will come up every now and then, but you can start your own. If you're wanting to have a conversation with maybe a few people on Twitter, you can, somebody can you can agree on what to call that subject matter that you're talking about, and you start including that hashtag in all of your tweets, and then everybody, will be able to follow that conversation. So it's a very handy tool. Another thing that you want to start doing, especially this is well, not only a good thing to do when you're just starting out on Twitter, but even once you've been on Twitter for a while, is to retweet other people's tweets. So instead of just putting out only your messages every now and all the time, you want to, if you come across something that maybe it could be maybe your clients are on Twitter and you want to be able to share some information that they're tweeting. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. And so, or maybe you just there are some industry leaders that have some great information, or just if you just happen to see a good quote cross your computer screen as you're looking through Twitter, you can retweet it. And all you'll do is, when you see something, you just need to move your mouse underneath the words that come up there. So like where it says, can become a Billy Cox. By just putting my mouse under there, all of a sudden those little words, the timeline comes up of when this was posted 18 seconds ago, favorite, retweet and reply. So you click on the retweet and that will automatically be sent out to all of your followers. Now, another way to do a retweet is you can actually type in these initials RT and then the person's username, and then you can maybe copy and paste their tweet. So this is another way to do it. This was the original way to do it, and then later Twitter came up with this more automatic way of doing it. One little caveat here, and just a good practice to follow, is when you are retweeting someone else's tweet, is to add value. Make a nice comment about it. As you see here, he says absolute genius, about this story. So it personalizes it, and what's really great about retweeting is, especially if you happen to retweet something that it's someone that you aren't actually following yet, because it might give them an opportunity, because typically what happens is, and this is another good practice, is when you're tweeting something and you've retweeted it, when that person will get, they may get like an email message from Twitter if they have their settings set up that way, and they see that you have retweeted their tweet. Odds are they're going to send you a thank you. They're going to say, hey, thanks for the retweet. I appreciate it. So now, if you haven't gotten, they're not one of your followers, or they're not following you, they may actually wind up following you, or you could follow them. But regardless, it's a way now of opening a door so that now you can start a conversation with this person. So it's definitely, just don't blindly retweet. If you can at all possible, add a little comment to the retweet, and it's gonna help you out. Now, as you're getting started with Twitter, and once you've started, you're tweeting, and of course the idea here is you want to be able to find people to follow, because not only is it good because you're going to want to maybe find prospects that, potential clients or customers for your business, whatever product or service you have, but also it's good to be able to connect with, again, maybe some industry leaders or whatnot. So when you set up your Twitter account, they'll give you the option where you can search, I think, by email address for your friends already. But if you want to be able to find some other people, Twitter has a great feature called Who to Follow, and this will show up on the right-hand side of your Twitter profile, and they'll give you some names, and then there's you can refresh and keep getting some new things, and all you have to do is click on the little word follow there, and you will automatically be following them. And as you can see, what's also nice is they'll even kind of tell you what other people are following these people, and they may be some other people you might want to check out. So it kind of keeps snowballing here, finding new people to connect with. So that's a good using the Who to Follow feature is good. Another way to be able to search for people is to actually use the advanced search feature. So you can use, if you go to twitter.com/search, and then you can, so now you could search by keyword. So if you really want to, say you're you're a florist or something, you can search for other florists. You can, or search for something maybe compatible. So for instance, I deal with, I do copywriting, but a lot of times I like to connect with web designers because they need copywriters frequently for their clients. So I could do a search and type in web designer, and then I could start trying to hook up with web designers and start some conversations with them. And eventually, if we get to be friendly, then they might possibly consider, if they've got a client, that they need some help with, they may contact me. So using the advanced search, you can really drill down and help you in finding people. Another way to find people is to look at who your followers are following. So this is another kind of cool little strategy. So look at their @ replies. See who they're talking to in their in their tweets. So as you see here, this Robin Mitkowitz, I guess, is talking to Jeff Rasko in Successful Meetings. So you could go ahead and you could put your mouse on either of those two usernames, and you'll be able to pull up their profile. You'll be able to look at it and see if this is a person that you need to be talking to, and then you can start to follow them as well. So this is another good little tactic to be able to find people. And again, as I think I kind of mentioned here, the people that you want to follow, of course, could be you want to be able to find people who could be prospects, but certainly look for thought leaders in your industry. You might want to look at other bloggers, and those can be some good people to follow, especially because the thought leaders typically they could have thousands of Twitter followers. And what will happen is, one thing I did not mention here is, as you start following people, they will typically follow you back. So it's, the more people you follow, the more people are going to follow you back, and it's going to be a good way to grow your following. Another thing you do, there's sometimes you may be at events, possibly. I think this is more in the really social media sphere, but it's possible that you might get people's Twitter names at an event. They might even have it listed on their name tag. But certainly, as you're meeting people at networking events, in the real world as opposed to online, you're exchanging business cards, and they may, a lot of people who are on Twitter will go ahead and put their username right on their business card. So now you've got it. When you get back to your office, you'll be able to, look them up on Twitter and follow them and send them a message and say, hey, it was great meeting you at this event yesterday, and let's keep the conversation going on Twitter. So that's a good way to do. And also you can, a lot of events, well, I shouldn't say a lot of, but many events will have, they may be, again, promoting themselves on Twitter, and so they'll have a hashtag for that event. And so that'll be a way for you to again, maybe meet some new people. Now, for instance, I had signed up for there was a social media webinar event that took place earlier this year that I signed up for, and so everyone was following the hashtag SMSS11, and so you could go on and talk about we could talk about the webinar that we just watched earlier, and we could make some comments about it. So again, and you can strike up some conversations with people that way, and be able to add them to your followers. Now, one thing you do want to keep in mind, however, is you don't want to follow too many people at once. Aim for about no more than like 25 to 50 people per day. If you get into where you're following like 100 people, Twitter's not going to be too happy about it, for one thing, because it's going to look more like, that possibly you're using some kind of computer program to just automatically add people, which some organizations will do. They've got these computer programs, and they just go through, and all their goal seems to be is just getting a whole bunch of Twitter followers, and they never tweet, which I still have not been able to figure out why you bothered to do this. I still haven't figured this out, because I get followers all the time for people who they never tweet, and yet they've got 6,000 followers, and they've just added me, and it's like, okay, but I'm not going to follow you back because you have nothing to say. I just don't see the point in that. But the other thing too is, so again, just keep it simple. Do only like 25 to 50 per day, and then give your followers time to follow back. Don't automatically unfollow people who don't follow you right back that day. Give them a couple days, and again, if you are like unfollowing a whole bunch of people, again, I think Twitter may get a little upset with you, and it's possible that you can actually, if you do need to follow Twitter's practices, because you can get your account suspended if you're not careful. So you don't want to use obscenity on Twitter. Keep the conversation clean and businesslike, and that'll, and follow these best practices, and you're going to do a lot better. Oh boy, time is rapidly passing me by here. All right, let me keep going here. Another thing to do is something called Follow Friday, and if you're on Twitter at all, if you may have seen this little #FF next to a tweet, and this is a way for you to highlight some of your followers, kind of give them a shout out, and show some appreciation that they are following you. So a good way to do this is when this first kind of started, and actually you'll still see it too, is people will just do like, #FF, and then they'll just list like about, 6 or 8 names of their followers. But a better way to do it is to maybe just pick 1 or 2 people at a time and make a comment about them. Make it more personal, and really let people know why this person is a good, why you like them, and why you're happy that they followed you. So as you can see in this example here, excuse me, this Roger says, he's over the moon that this person turned his tweet about footballers into a cartoon, and he included this in the Follow Friday. So it's a kind of a way for you to maybe even give a little testimonial about someone. So take advantage of doing that on Follow Friday. Also, when someone does mention you in a Follow Friday tweet, thank them. Again, whenever someone sends you a tweet, mentions your name, you want to thank them. You want to be able to respond to them. Not only is it just good manners, frankly, but it's a way of getting that conversation going. And so you want to be able to talk to people and engage them in a conversation. Also, consider interacting with people that you follow who haven't followed you back, because for whatever reason, maybe they got sidetracked and they forgot that you had followed them, and they didn't, or maybe they just weren't sure that they should follow you back. So go ahead and try to start up a conversation with them, and then maybe they will become a follower of you. So that's another tactic that you can do as well. Now, there are some automated tools out there that you can use that if you will automatically not only will automatically follow someone who follows you, but will automatically send a message to them and say, hey, thanks for following, visit my blog, or, thanks for following, why don't we connect on Facebook too, or something like that. But it's really not the best way to do it. It's a lot better if, especially at the beginning, when you're building your following, try to send a personal welcome message instead. Make it personal. I had this happen where not too long ago, when I followed someone, and I made, or when they followed me, I responded back and made a particular comment. And they sent me the welcome message. Yeah, when I followed them, I commented specifically about something in their bio. They sent me back a welcome message that included talking about that same thing that I had talked about in the bio, but I could tell they did not see my tweet. It was just an automatic thing that had gotten set up. And I know, I believe it's called Social Oomph, is one of the tools out there that you can have it set up to send an automatic message. But it's got some great features, but I wouldn't use it for that. Instead, have it set up to automatically follow people who follow you. That's not bad, because that way then you're keeping up with that. Another thing you want to do is, once you decide to be on Twitter, is you need to make sure you let other people know that you're on Twitter. So make sure that you're including your username in your email, on your business card, like I mentioned earlier, and have those little Twitter icons on your website, on your blog. If you're on Facebook, you can also have the Twitter app go in there so that people can actually see what you're tweeting on Twitter as well. So have it so that you've got, so that you let people know that you're on Twitter. So again, that's going to be a way for you to help build your following. All right, now let's start getting into specific marketing strategies here. All right, So once you, as I talked about a little bit before, how are you going to promote your company? What are you going to do for when you're tweeting? And as I said, if you've got a blog that's related to your business, you certainly want to tweet blog articles. You want to be able to drive, because your goal here is to hopefully get people to visit your website, get people to read your blog, get people to go to your Facebook page. As well. So as you see here in this example, she's this collectible shop posted photos on Facebook in their album. So she's included the link to that Facebook page. And hopefully, now if someone sees this and they go to it, they may even decide then to like their Facebook page as well. So you're getting, it's a good way to drive traffic and get people onto the other platforms, that other social networking sites you might be using. And if you're doing webinars, or if you have an ebook or something like that, you definitely want to go ahead and promote that. But again, don't fall into the trap though of always promoting things on Twitter. You also want to be able to give value to your Twitter followers. So don't make it just a hard sell. Also give information. Don't be afraid to give out helpful information, because that's gonna do you a lot better in the long run if you can be seen as a trusted source. Another thing you want to do is monitor your brand with Twitter search. If you see some people talking about maybe the product or a product or service that you offer, and maybe they're talking about a competitor of yours, when you do your search and you know that the product or service that you have maybe has some better advantages, well, go ahead and respond back to that person. Don't be afraid, and just say, hey, I saw you were having some trouble, or, well, probably not that, because it's going to be too long. But anyway, just offer a solution, and that's going to be a good way to, again, it's part of that, getting your name out there and being a trusted source. Another thing you can do is you can set up an RSS feed in Google Reader, so that you'll be able to keep track of things and monitor. Again, part of monitoring your brand. So this will be a good way, so you'll be able to see what people are saying about you. A cool strategy that I learned about this a couple months ago, and started doing it, is to save positive tweets under your favorites tab as testimonials. So anytime someone gives you a shout out on Twitter and says that they liked your article or they liked your tip, go ahead and save those. What you'll do is, I think if you remember earlier when I showed you that about the retweet, to the left of that was a little favorite button. You click on that and it'll put this little, you see this kind of little half star in the corner there, and that tweet gets saved under this favorites tab. And so that then when other people are looking at your profile and they click on your favorites, because maybe they're just curious to see what kind of tweets you save, and suddenly they see all these testimonials from people. I mean, that's going to be great. They're going to be like, especially if this is a potential client or customer for you, they're going to be much more willing to maybe start up a conversation with you because they've seen all these great testimonials. If you offer some sort of new tool, again, something that's helpful for your target audience, definitely you want to share that on Twitter and let people know about it. And as I said, you want to establish yourself as a thought leader. So post resources and tips related to your industry. It doesn't necessarily have to always be even your own content, but it could be other people's content. And there's nothing wrong with sharing other articles that you read, other blog articles that you read. So go ahead and feel free to share that information with your audience, because they're going to respect you for it and want to do business with you ultimately. All right, now, let's talk about some lead generation strategies here, and how do we use Twitter to get leads. One of the best ways, one of the things that you should consider doing is create a dedicated Twitter landing page on your website. So because this is going to be a good way for you to keep track of how, if you've met someone on Twitter and then they click on your website link and they go to a dedicated page, you'll be able to see that. If you have some kind of analytics program set up, you're going to be able to know that, hey, this person came from Twitter. So, and especially if you start getting a lot, then you're going to say, okay, well, Twitter seems to be a good marketing platform for me. I want to do, maybe I want to even spend some more time on it. So again, you have a special page on your website, and you use that URL in your Twitter profile. So don't just have, you know, www.yourwebsite.com. Make sure that you've got that actual page attached to it, so you're sending people directly to that, to the page that you want them to say. And you can, and I have come across this one time where it said, you know, hey, hey Twitter, you know, thanks for reaching us from Twitter, and then they go on and, you know, and talk about whatever it is, whatever kind of product or service they have to offer. So this is, I think, a strategy that I don't think a lot of people, not as many people are taking advantage of as they should. And I confess, I'm not even doing it myself, and because I've only recently in the past few months just kind of gotten back into saying, okay, I want to figure out Twitter, I want to see if I can make it work for my business, and this is on my to-do list. I have to do this as well. Yeah, make sure when you're tweeting, again, include a link to the landing page, so you know that if someone then clicks on it, you know that they came from Twitter. You also want to monitor industry terms with Twitter search, because again, this is going to help you. You can kind of keep track of what's going on and use that in maybe in crafting the type of information that you send out on Twitter. And participate in Twitter chats. Twitter chats happen almost every day on a variety of subjects, and actually I will try to make a point of sending it to you. I didn't get to include it on the slide, but there is a Google Doc that has a list of all the current Twitter chats, which I will send to you in a follow-up email. I don't think I'm going to be able, I'm not sure if I have time to get it in the one that will come out with the recording tomorrow, but I will send that out in the next day or two, along with some other follow-up material for you that I think you'll find helpful. So it's very interesting, because you can, if you've got, you know, they have Twitter chats in the evening, in different industries, or during the day, and if you can just make it a point to go on to Twitter at that time, and you'll see they give you the hashtag for that chat, and you can start participating in a conversation with people, and this is going to be another good way for you to connect with new people, and potentially, maybe you find a good connection that you might be able to do some business with. And of course, another thing is if you do have a blog, you definitely should try to go ahead and have it connected to Twitter automatically. Is a great time saver. So rather than having to manually go in and type the link to your blog article each day, if you have, I know, for instance, on WordPress, I have my blog on WordPress, and I can have it set up so that as soon as I publish my blog article, it will automatically send a tweet out to my account so that all my followers will see that I've written a new article. Excuse me, one second. There we go. So if you can find a way to have that go automatically, that's going to be a great thing for you, because again, it's going to get people seeing your blog, they're going to read it, maybe they'll even start subscribing, and you can use that as a way to connect. Okay, another good use for Twitter is in public relations. So if you want to be able to find the influencers, find some reporters or something that you want to be able to connect with, so that you can, hopefully promote your business. These are some three websites. Now, TweetGrader, this one is offered by HubSpot, and actually this is they'll actually grade you on you can put your Twitter username in there, and they'll tell you how, how you're doing, how your Twitter username is performing. But they also have a little option on there where you can use it to find Twitter users by location, and it also will measure the authority of a particular user. So that's a good one to check out. Muckrack is a free website that enables you to search for and locate journalists by their publication or by their beat or the topic that they follow. And then Journalist Tweets is another free site, and they curate tweets from other journalists, and then they allow users then to filter those journalists on Twitter by industry. So if you want to try to be able to connect with people and be able to get your message out about your company, this is a good way to do it. And as you're doing it, you want to try to develop relationships. And I put this on here. This is an example. I can talk about this from the blogger's perspective and then the company's perspective, and I'll give you a little background here. As I mentioned earlier, I started this new Twitter ID called Green SEO Copy, and so I've been going through and trying to find green companies to follow and start a conversation with, and I happened to get on this one called Roll It Right, and I checked out their profile, and they had a little link to their website, and what they had a YouTube video about their product, which is actually kind of cool. Is what it does is it makes it so that either your paper towel dispenser or your toilet paper dispenser, that the paper doesn't just kind of fly off the roll. It has a little foam insert that goes in it, and that makes it go slowly. So it helps, so you don't, if you got little kids, you don't want them wasting all the toilet paper. Well, anyway, so I made this, long story short, I made this little comment here. Now they had, I guess, followed me back, I think, and they saw that I had made this comment that, I like their product, and so they were smart and said, hey, we'd love to send you a sample if you would like to review it. And I said, sure, absolutely, that sounds fine. And so we wound up actually trading emails back and forth. They sent me the product. I tried it out, tested it out. I actually, liked it, but I found a few little, things with it, and I wrote a blog article about it. Well, then they put that blog article on their Facebook page. So this is how you can, so you see they were savvy as a company because they were following people, and they were able to get their product a little free publicity because I did mention it in my blog. It helped me because I was able to get free publicity because I was now exposed to different people on their Facebook page. So, it was a win-win. So that's kind of a way that you can deal with that. Another thing you can do is just as you're finding some journalists to get into is to send tips and resources. So again, you want to, you don't want to bombard people because coming from a news background, I know that our assignment desk, we would get inundated with story ideas all the time, and we just couldn't always, deal with them. But if you can, use Twitter to kind of, be helpful, offer them the solution, and if you can link it to something timely that's going on, that's even better, and they'll be more receptive to you. Another thing to do is to send a direct message to the reporters. So rather than, again, because a lot of times it's going to be easier for you to reach them if you can do that as opposed to maybe sending an email. But this only works if they have followed you back. So keep that in mind. And also, check if you are going to pitch them an idea, you want to see what they're doing first, because if they've go to their profiles, see the recent tweets, because if they've mentioned that they're going out of town right now or something, or they're tied up on another big project right now, and so they're not going to be tweeting for 24 hours, that's probably not the best time to send your story idea. So you want to wait. Make sure that they're going to be receptive. Otherwise, you're just going to be wasting your time. Customer service. Now this has, Lordy mercy. Okay, I'm going to have to go fast. I'm sorry about this. We're running out of time here. All right. I'm sure you all have heard about customer service. Like Comcast is a great company. It has developed a great reputation on Twitter, not necessarily as being a good company, but of how they respond. They do respond to complaints. So if you see people having concerns about your brand, you want to respond to them and you want to try to do it quickly. Update customers about downtime. If something's happening, let them know right away. Don't let it drag out. You want to be able to get them, let them know about it. Follow back all who follow, if you do belong to a bigger company, you definitely want to follow people back who follow your company, but don't send that automatic direct message, because you want to make it personal so people aren't just, feeling like they're talking just to a big corporate giant. Social search, okay. Because, Twitter is really become a big part of, or all social media really, in helping your overall website in the search ranking. So as you're tweeting, make sure that you're using keywords in your tweet. Do a little research. Go to Google AdWords, WordTracker.com. These are free sources, and you make sure when you are tweeting, have some keywords, because people will search not only on Twitter itself, but even on Google, and they'll be, well, not so much Google anymore. I guess they kind of dropped that relationship, but because they're doing their old thing now. But Bing, I think, still does, and it'll be able to, people will search for a certain phrase, and they might see your tweet come up. So it's a good idea to do that. And when you're doing not only when you're retweeting, if you want someone to retweet your information, which is great so that you can get more people to see it, ask for it. It's amazing. HubSpot, I love them. They did it. Dan Zarella did this great little study, and he found out simply by saying, actually, please retweet, actually spelling it out all the way as opposed to please RT, you get 4 times more retweets. So just like on Facebook, you need to ask people to like your page or comment. On Twitter, ask for the retweet, and you'll be surprised at how many people will actually go ahead and do that. If you're sharing blog articles, make sure you've got good blog titles and have keywords in there. You want to be able to make it something that someone actually is going to be interested in. As it goes by their Twitter stream, they're going to say, hey, that article looks interesting. Let me click on that. So make sure you've got good blog titles and that you're promoting that. All right, since we're running out of time, we'll go over some time-saving tools real quickly here. There's a host of them. I mean, if you do a Google search for like Twitter time-saving tools, there's going to be a bunch. But I'm going to go through just a couple that I have that I've used and have found to be great resources. And one of them is Hootsuite. Hootsuite is very helpful because what it allows you to do is you can schedule your tweets ahead of time. So you don't have to necessarily do a bunch of, worry about spending every single day on Twitter and spending a lot of time on it. You want to be able to get it so you're maybe only spending 10 minutes a day, 10 or 15 minutes a day, maybe just checking up on things. So if you've got like some blog articles, you have some events going on in your company that you want to promote, take some time. I usually do is I spend like a Sunday afternoon, and I'll spend about an hour going through and scheduling some tweets, and go ahead and do that. And then the other great feature about Hootsuite is then you can also set up these different little windows here where you can monitor tweets. So you can see when people have mentioned your username, you can see your regular home feed, so you can just keep track. And then you can go in and retweet things or reply to people right from Hootsuite. You don't even have to go to Twitter. You can just be monitoring everything right from here. The other cool thing is that they do have some analytics. Now, Hootsuite, they've got some parts they do charge you extra for, but you can still get some basic results for free. So you can, if you use their URL shortener, because say usually if you've got like a long blog article or something, it's going to be more than those 140 characters. So you can put it and use one of their shorteners where they'll condense it, and then you'll be able to go back in and track and see how many people actually clicked on that story. You'll be able to see where they came from, what areas of the world they live in, how many clicks, so things like that are really great. And you can see, again, like the most popular links, so that's really useful. Another one, this is called Buffer App, And this is a new one. They're still, I think, even still in beta, so they're just very new, the last couple of months. But this is kind of cool because what they do is they will, they come up with a way of figuring out. So they'll send these tweets out at certain times of the day, because that was one thing I didn't mention earlier. So you don't want to necessarily just do a whole bunch of tweets at once, like 10 tweets in an hour. That's kind of overboard, and it's even be seen as spam, frankly, by a lot of people. So ideally, like 3 to 4 tweets a day is all you really need to do. And with BufferApp, they will go ahead and pre-select some times, and they'll just send them out at these different times a day. So you'll be able to, connect with some different people. And as you're going through, you can even add this to your browser so that if you see a story during the day that you like, you can just click on it and add it to the buffer, and they will automatically send it out later. So again, this is a great little time-saving tool. You don't have to worry about spending a lot of time figuring out when to do it. And they also have some analytics here as well. So when you'll be able to see like how many retweets your post got, your tweet got, how many clicks it got, and how many people actually saw that tweet. So that's a real nice feature. Another one similar to BufferApp is crowdbooster.com, and again, this one you can actually send tweets directly from here. They will show you like how you're doing on follower growth and who are like the influential followers that you have, which is kind of cool to see, and the top retweeters, and then they'll give you this nice little graph down here where you can click on and see how are your tweets actually doing, which is nice. And you can also, this is a new feature they just added recently, where you can, they'll show you some influential users who followed you. So maybe people who have 10,000 Twitter followers already, they'll show you those names, and then you have the option, again, you can click on their name, check them out, and see if you want to follow them. This is Twitter. Actually, in August, they announced that they were changing the look of some of the features that they have. I haven't seen it on my account yet, and I actually sent them a message today saying, hey, when are we going to see this? But so it's kind of cool because they're going to be combining here under your username all your @ mentions, your favorites, your follows, right in this one pane on the left here, and then on the one on the right, they're changing the activity feed a little bit. Again, it's going to show favorites, follows, retweets, and more by the people that you follow. So I'm really looking forward to this, but I don't know when they're going to change it, so I'm hoping it'll be soon. So that'll be something to look forward to. All right, I got a special offer. And how much time do we have left here? Oh boy. Okay, good. We still have a couple minutes. I just wanted to let you know that I can, and I have done this before, is I have worked with clients in creating a Twitter profile. So if you don't have an account yet, or maybe it needs a little work and you haven't optimized it with the right kind of keywords in your bio and things like that, normally I charge $100 for that, but I'm letting you know that you can take advantage of this for a special price of $69. Just send me an email at gloria@gloriarand.com and use Twitter profile in the subject line. But I'm only doing this for the next 2 weeks, so you need to, if you're interested, take advantage of it quickly. Okay, so we have about, let's see, got about 7 minutes left. Okay, I was good. I apologize for rushing through that, but I wanted to make sure that we got all the information in. So we do have some time for some questions. So let me see what we've got here. I'm going to scroll back up here. Okay, let's see. Oh, how do you add a comment to the RT? Yeah, the best way to add a comment to the retweet is, rather than actually when you're in Twitter and clicking on that little retweet button, that you don't have the opportunity to do it that way. So your better bet is to either copy that whole tweet and then paste it into your status bar and add the little RT in front of it, and your comment in front of it too. Or if you use Hootsuite, if you set up an account with Hootsuite, if you click the retweet button there, it opens up into a little status bar where you can type in a comment. So I find a lot of times that if I do want to retweet something, I usually, like I said, I like using Hootsuite for that purpose alone, just because it is easier, so you can include those comments, because it's not as user-friendly in Twitter directly. Let's see. Someone else was asking, do they just message them directly? Okay, I'm not sure about that. I guess maybe for, you're probably wondering when I was talking about trying to get into talking with different journalists or things. Yeah, I mean, you can, or even just in general. Again, the direct message is something that you should really do if you want to make sure that only you and the other Twitter user is part of that conversation. You want to keep the conversation private from the rest of everyone else on Twitter. So that's the way to do that. Or maybe you want to share an email message or your email address. Maybe you don't really want to necessarily put it out there in the Twitterverse. So send them a direct message and exchange that information that way. Oh, okay. Someone is saying that the ones who don't tweet but follow so many are spammers, and they make it a point to block them and report their sites to Twitter. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, if you do see someone spamming or engaging in things that you don't like, and that are doing that, you can report them to Twitter. There is actually a little icon that you can click on, and that you can let them know. So you can definitely do that. Okay, someone was asking if you're following all people in that, or I'm sorry, if you're, oops, wait, I lost the question here. Okay. If you follow, like, for instance, this person is in the realtor business. If you follow many realtors all at once, does Twitter understand that you're following all people in that industry? I think, it's okay, but I would make sure that you're not doing a whole bunch of them at once. So you don't want to follow 100 different realtors that day. So just pace yourself, And again, because you probably don't want to necessarily spend a whole lot of time on this every day anyway. So give yourself, spend just a few minutes every day and do that. Don't the website analytics show that users that come from Twitter don't need a dedicated landing page? Well, that's a good point. Now that you mention it, yeah, that's true. Now that you mention it, you may have that. But then again, the other thing about having a dedicated landing page for Twitter followers is just kind of recognizing that they came from Twitter. So it's a way of making them feel special, that you acknowledge that they found you. So what you can do is test it. Test it out. If you want. If you don't think it's that important, or if you want to create a landing page, if it doesn't seem to get much hits, or it doesn't really seem to be having that much of an impact on your business, then don't do it. Don't worry about it. All right, let's see. Where are we right now? Oh, pretty good. I've got 12:58. Okay. Let's see. Oh, looks like we've got couple more questions here. See if I can get a couple more in. Oh, is there a good example of a Twitter-specific landing page? I tried to find one, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to include here. And like I said, I know I've seen them, but it's been a very long time, really, since the last time I did see one. So I apologize for not including that. Can you group tweets by your lists? Oh, yes, I forgot to talk about forming lists on Twitter. It's like everything else. There's always so much to talk about. It's like hard to cram everything in an hour. That's one thing you can do. You can create lists on Twitter of people that you follow. So if you have different industries or something that you want to follow, you maybe want to put all your friends in one list, and then you can have your clients in another list, and you can have just thought leaders in another list. You can click on that list, and then you'll see all of the tweets from all those people in that list. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. I apologize that I didn't mention that earlier. Okay, I am just about out of voice here, and I think we've covered an awful lot, and I really appreciate your attention here and spending the hour with me here. If you do have, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to you can tweet them to me on Twitter. Gloria @Gloria Rand is my username, so definitely do that, or find me on Facebook or send me an email, and I will be happy to answer your questions later. And as I said, I will be sending the recording out, and I do have another resource with some more information. Again, that Google Doc I mentioned, I will send that in the mail to you so that you'll have that, and I think it'll be very helpful. And I hope to connect with you all on Twitter as well. And so I hope you have a great afternoon, and look forward to joining you again soon.